What did we learn?
But these Lantern Archons, it's difficult to get a read on their emotions. They're definitely beings. These are the lowest form of Archons, but these would be the equivalent of like a Monodrone, which is the lowest form of Modron. They're essentially just points of celestial light that have and embody strong emotions. But there's no doubt that these Archons have banded together to save your lives.
I'll choke out. Thanks.
And it comes out as a burp.
Yeah.
Yulana, and I mean, her small, frail body, she already was not suited to all the wilderness travel, but covered in scrapes and bruises. And when she's pulled out of the snow by Serenity and she regains consciousness, she's overcome with a wave of emotion, and she cries fitfully for a while, not out of pain, but out of gratitude for having been rescued. And so there you all are with 1 hit point and levels of exhaustion. What's next?
Healing word on little girl.
Okay. Roll your fail.
I'm gonna look around for my climbing gear. Is my stuff still with me?
Yes, you all still have your gear. You all still have your packs, or you find them close nearby. Nothing got destroyed.
Yes.
Okay, so you healing word. Yulana.
7 hit points. I'm assuming we're still at maximized healing.
Yes. That's probably all the hit points she has, actually.
I'm gonna ask you, does anyone want to sleep for a while? Take a long rest?
Yeah, I don't know. How far back was it we got up into these mountains?
I mean, you guys climbed down. You and Mahogany came down this really steep formation, close to 1,000 feet into the ravine. So you'd have to climb back up that, and then climb the last 100 or so to get back up to the trail that you guys left from.
All right, so I it's my spell chance, my fail chance. So I'm gonna cast a Lamage Tiny Hut
Okay.
to get us out of the cold.
Call.
And the little tiny hut pops into existence. The 6 of you file in. All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna burn a few spell slots here on good berries.
Okay. Go ahead and take your long rest. Spend hit dice if you need to.
Everything about this plane.
Alright, so that's 60 more healing.
How much?
60 more, so 10 for everyone.
Okay.
Before you start spending your
Hit dice.
Gotcha.
your stuff. And then I'm going to roll it over time so that I can give us the 2 as usual.
I think my healing word
Yeah.
would. I think my word Brooke said brought her to what a max would be.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
I mean, she only has 2 or 3 hit points.
Yeah. So.
So we
split
all
that
get 12.
5, so we split that 5 ways instead of.
So we get 12 instead of 10.
Yeah, you get 12 instead of 10, and you each have berries that you can keep for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, you can also go ahead and take an extra 6 from the Song of Rest that I'm gonna sing during
Okay.
rest.
Perfect.
You get that
Alright,
extra
so
6
I'm-
if you
Well,
spend
hold
hit dice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
I'm spending hit dice.
But
Yeah,
we can spend 1 hit dice and get half our hit dice, right? On a long rest?
Yes, you can. At the end of the long rest, you get
So-
half of the hit dice back.
Yeah, so
20.
we can spend at least a few
And
for free.
long rest, we lose level exhaustion, right?
1 level, yeah.
1 level, yes.
Yeah, so me and Destil are
5.
still at 1.
And 8 for...
Man, by the way, exhaustion is super expensive to cure with magic. I looked it up. How many spells that can do it cost like thousands.
I love exhaustion. Big fan. It's funny because our other DM and my Saturday group never ever uses exhaustion. So when I started applying exhaustion in Curse of Strahd, they're like, "What? What's that? What does that do?"
What is that even?
Wait, disadvantage on how much? That sucks. How long? Till you guys rest. You hear the baying of wolves. Do you rest or do you keep moving? So that does bring up the question of what you guys do after your long rest. And I mean, the cold didn't do anything for, I mean, your bruising. Your injuries have been healed. Your hit points are taken care of. But, I mean, you still feel the anguish of it being torn down this mountain by this avalanche. And, I mean, suddenly Mount Celestia is no longer all friendly roses and lollipops. Suddenly, the danger of this place has made itself apparent.
We should have taken one of those walking sticks.
Well, so how far down did we fall? You say like 200 feet or 160 or something?
Mahogany and Serenity fell a couple hundred. The rest of you fell 1,000.
Oh, so we're way down there now.
Yes. So going up that 1,000 feet, there's a steep slope you can walk up. It's treacherous, but you don't have to climb it. You can walk up it. From there, the last 100 or so, you'd have to climb.
Okay.
And that would get you back up to the trail where the avalanche fell from. On the plus side, you look up, and I mean, it's clear skies. Not a cloud anywhere. No sign of snowfall.
Whew, well. Small blessings, eh?
Yeah. Take what I can get.
Mhm.
Well, let's get to it. No sense in burning daylight.
Yep. Who's our lightest member and best climber?
Serenity is probably the best climber. I want to be a spider.
Well,
I've got
yeah,
athletics
that's exactly my plan. I can't put in Titans as a spider. I'm not handed. But what I can do is up a wall, let someone else climb up with me on like a rope or something, and then that person could put in to let the rest of the group up.
I mean, I've +8 on my athletics.
You're really heavy, though.
Yulana volunteers to hammer the spikes into the mountain.
Yeah.
She's
Probably the lightest
extremely
of us.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems good. So that'll be our strategy from here on out. We keep ourselves chained together, except for me, and I turn into a spider and walk us up the walls.
Okay. So, even with this great plan, I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's exhausting work carrying this girl up the wall, and it's exhausting for her as she's hammering spikes, and it's exhausting for the rest of them as they climb up after you. But after an hour or two of work, all of you arrive at the top of the wall, and everybody gains one more level of exhaustion from the climb, except for Mahogany, because you're a spider. But because this time you use the climbing gear, you don't actually have to make any rolls. I looked at everybody's character sheet. I'm like, okay, who's actually got climbing gear? Oh, nobody? I better put some climbing gear in the game for them to use.
It didn't seem like it was that bad yet.
No, it was on a path. I assumed
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it became so steep, we
Not-
need to use pittance.
Surprise!
No.
Avalanche! Woo! Where's the climbing gear? Like, come on.
Here's what I like
It could
about
happen to us in Sigil.
Here's what I like about running two games is because both groups get to feel superior to the other group, because the only stories I ever tell are the ones where the players are idiots. So
Now he's got some ammo for next weekend.
next Saturday I'm gonna go and be like, you guys won't believe what my Planescape group did. Listen to this. But yeah, after an hour or two of hard labor, you all get back to the top of the cliff, exhausted. And it's exactly as you left. You're in between the path looking forward. It starts widening and going down the other side of the ridge. And then looking back an equal distance away is the shack where you spent last night. Or previous night, because you
pressing
stayed
on.
in the tiny hut last night.
Yeah, we went home.
How long does it look like it's going to get to the end of the ridge?
Not that long. Maybe, I mean, assuming you're going to go at a slower pace than you did yesterday, maybe a 30 or 40 minute hike.
Since we're here at the top of the stairs, can we climb to the other side of the path?
Well, I assume you guys
Rather than-
climbed the stairs and then used the spider trick to get yourself the last
okay.
100 feet up. That's what I figured.
But we didn't want to like get ourselves up the wrong side of the path.
No, you didn't. You climbed back the same way up you
Okay.
came down. No, you're looking across the ridge and there's the shack. Like, God damn it! Bahamut's realm the whole other way. There are dragons in the skies laughing at you. So going on or going back?
I think our best plan here is to just press on. I'll turn into a spider for the last 40 minutes so that you guys can tie yourselves to me. And then once we get to the end of this ridge, at least take a short rest, maybe just call it a day.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And so I'll do so and allow myself to be tied up.
Okay. And 40 minutes of traveling later, you get to the other side of the ridge. And not only does it wide up, but it starts curving away from the ravine. And starts sloping steeply downwards. And so you guys find a nice place where you can hang out and take a rest.
And I need one at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Short rest or long rest?
What's the weather going to be like today, Mahogany?
I don't know. I'll check.
Clear skies.
Yeah, what?
It's going to be good for the rest of the day. It's going to be a short rest until the thing. On the other hand,
I would think
everyone's
if-
good right now.
I think
What's weather on the 8th day?
if we have a day of clear skies, we should probably take an opportunity to take a long rest.
Okay.
Well, either way, we're going to stay in this hut, I'm assuming. It's just a matter of us having to our way out if it snows.
Right.
You can assume if Riot rolls that fail chance.
All right, yeah, let's see here.
She's got plenty of spell slots.
She's like a
I
snail.
don't have two third levels. But yeah, it works.
She's way better at rolling that
Cast
fail
as a
chance.
ritual.
Well, cast as a ritual, you still have to roll the fail chance.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking it'll just take a few hours of Riot going,
Singing over and over. So unlike Mahogany, Riot is actually good at casting her spells, and the hut appears. And you all file inside once more.
Me and Bahamut, we got an understanding at this point.
Do you?
Do you really?
So everybody go ahead and do what you need to do during your rest.
Alright, if I'm reading this right, everyone is now at 0 levels of exhaustion except Serenity, who's at 1.
Yeah.
That sounds right, yeah.
Don't get a B back.
And
The
I
next-
am back to full points finally.
Finally, okay.
So I'm gonna ask Yolanda how she's holding up.
Like a trooper. And I'm like, even after having suffered injury and everything that she's been through, I mean, like she
Experiences.
still insists on working at camp. She's still very attentive, and when you ask her how she's holding up, she says that it's been difficult, but she's delighted that the mountain has seen fit to test her. She takes this as a sign that she belongs with the Order.
Boy, think of what the mountain would do to her if she did.
Yeah.
Kelian
Toss her off a
scoffs at that
cliff.
a little bit.
She
It
says
already did that.
She says if the mountain didn't believe she belonged with the Order, that it would have brought her home by now. It would have prevented you all from taking her away from Heart's Faith. But instead, it's seeing fit to test her faith and her endurance.
Mahogany will nod. He already knows that she belongs there because he saw that sword she made.
Does seem like a good the gear we got came from the Order, huh?
Yeah. Well. Anyway, good night, all.
The next day after arising and following the route that was laid out for you, you notice two things. First of all, daylight for the first times you've arrived in Mount Celestia. Looking up, there is, instead of looking up and seeing the light of Cronius, the highest mountain, you see a large silvery sun hanging in the sky. And the entire sky takes on this bright silver hue. No longer darkness. You no longer see an ocean of stars above you. And second, it gets much, much warmer. And
How much warmer?
warm enough that the heavy furs that you've been wearing start to become uncomfortable.
All right, and the second Mahogany starts to be uncomfortable, he'll take furs off.
Roll up
Yeah.
and roll it up, stuff it in the pack.
Yeah,
I'll give Ciclon his cloak.
I'll take off if it's a scavenged hide armor and put him back in the solution bag.
Back in the solution bag. And this is how you know that you have arrived in Bahamut's realm, because the surroundings have stopped taking on the appearance of Mount Celestia and started taking on the properties of whatever it is Bahamut wants.
And I'll ask Yolana, so are we still on the first Mount Celestia? This is just an overlay, or?
Riot laughs and interrupts. Listen. There's no way we got the second layer. There's just no way we're there.
No, I don't think we're on the second layer. I'm just not sure if we're contending with two powers here.
And Yolana confirms that Bahamut's realm is indeed on the first layer, but his palace travels between the first four. So from here you would need to find Bahamut's palace.
Yep.
Right.
And you don't travel for more than an hour through Bahamut's realm. The terrain becomes less rocky and more forested. You still see mountains in the distance, but they look more like terrestrial mountains. They look more like single looming spires where a dragon might make its home. And in the sky, swooping above you after an hour or so of travel, you see the shape of a huge flying dragon with a gold tint to its scales. And it begins circling overhead and coming closer to the ground.
I'm gonna look for cover.
Looks like it's the welcoming party.
Look for cover. Like you look for like a tree to duck behind, or
or a rock or something.
there's a big rock nearby.
Yeah, I'll go and hide.
Right, ducks behind this big rock. What does the
Right,
rest
I
of you
don't
do?
think that rock is big enough.
What do the rest of you do?
Stand.
Well, I know. Yeah, I'll just wait for it. I know
If
enough
everyone
about
else is
Bahamut's
waiting, Kelian will.
temple to be expecting dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Serenity is put out by it.
Keelan, you got your crossbow up?
Wait,
Throwing a bead on the dragon? All right. So everybody but Riot. Within a few moments, the gold dragon lands next to you. And you feel the heat of its breath as it looks the party over. And it looks over at the rock. And the first thing that it speaks, in a very heavily accented common, flavored with draconic, it says, "You could tell your friend to come out. I know she's there."
Riot.
I
told you
Kelian
you
waves
needed a
right
bigger
over.
rock.
was just about to roll my stealth check, but I guess that's not me. Okay. Riot sheepishly comes out.
Okay? And the dragon welcomes you all to the home of the Platinum Dragon.
Applying draconic because I know it. I guess. Thanks. We're here to visit the temple,
Wait, you know Draconic?
and we're also. Yeah, I know draconic.
Why?
He's made this very clear on several.
I'm made of wizards' bookshelves.
I hate Nodal so much.
You just come out knowing draconic.
So what do you say to him?
Hi, we're here to the temple, and we're also delivering this girl to Plains Milton.
And the dragon seems to approve of that, but he replies, "Perhaps we should converse in the language of your companions. It would be rude otherwise."
Mahogany will switch to common. He's say, I was just excited to talk to someone in draconic.
The dragon introduces himself as Calanth, Eternal Fire. And he
I'm
regards the young girl. As you're delivering this child to the Order of the Plains Militant.
Well, she's more delivering herself.
We're
And-
kind of her bodyguards.
She steps forward very boldly, but you notice that she's clutching her wooden sword that she made. Very tightly, as she does. But she steps forward from the group and addresses the dragon. And she says, I believe it is my life's task to serve the Order. And then she bows very deeply out of lack of knowledge of what else to do.
Mahogany will pat her on the back. Good job.
And Callan bids her to rise, and she does. And he looks at each of you and says, Bahamut welcomes you into his borders. But first you must make a token offering of wealth, that it may be added to his hoard. Let the Platinum Dragon know you are friends.
Ciclon flushes a little bit, thinks back to that bit where he took every single coin he had into the offering box of the temple in Sigil.
Mahogany will take out the silver and chop off a quarter of it. And he'll say, "What?"
That's not suspicious at all. He rolls up. Oh, damn! I just gave it the temple the other day. Sorry.
No, seriously, what happened? That literally what happened.
So Mahogany's giving
chop
a quarter.
Off a quarter of it. And,
okay.
Yeah, and he'll say, "We got this, Essex, so it'll suffice for all of us."
And Callanth regards the offering, and he looks displeased.
What's
wrong?
He
says, and this is how you gauge the worth of the Platinum Dragon's hospitality. 1/4 of a silver bar.
Ciclon has already dropped his bag on the ground and is searching through it frantically, trying to find a copper or something.
Mahogany shrugs and he says, "It's a quarter of everything I own."
What are the rest of you doing?
Kelian rolls his eyes a little bit and flips a platinum piece towards the dragon as though he were tipping a busboy.
Damn, son,
Oh
that
my
is
God.
the extreme opposite of
now.
humility. You
We are going
cannot
to
get
die
less humble than that. Gold Dragon, what the fuck? Bring it around, SA.
Platinum piece, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not taking the bond. I hope you don't mind.
Callan accepts the gifts. Kind of like when you throw a worthless piece of glass at a unicorn.
Serenity will fish out 30 gold pieces. Glad to have Void actually some gold on this plane.
So you're giving him 30 gold pieces? Okay.
Yeah.
Ciclon finds nothing in his pack except for 4 of those silver plugs that he had from getting into Pandemonium way back when.
Do you pull those out?
Serenity is literally the only
Yes.
member of our party to have gold, remember, because the rest of us spent it all breaking Serenity out of jail.
Riot scratches her head and says, there was this box, and I to the dragon a couple days ago. Gosh, must have been longer than that. But it's Bahamut's now, and it was the most valuable thing I owned.
And as Callanth is accepting the offerings from the rest of the group, he regards Riot very curiously. And you can tell right away he does not believe you. It's very clear. But he asks, what is inside this box?
Riot says, I would love to know.
Magic, mostly, from what now.
Well, the box is... So at least on the outside there's magic. I assume there's probably
And Riot
some
says, I mean, if that's not good enough, you can have the rest of what I've got.
There's all this climbing gear we didn't use.
And Riot forks over 14 copper.
Okay.
Kelian
And
turns his head towards Riot as he realizes what's is talking about.
Oh, that's right! Never told you!
Yeah, I already read her the Riot out that. Ha! Get it.
Yeah.
No, I don't get it.
Callanth accepts the offerings, such as they are. And then he takes wing again and begins flapping back into the air. And as he goes, he tells you that he will escort you to the village of Deventh Gotar. So it is a place that you will find rest, recuperation from your travels, a place to lay back your head, friendly faces, place to reprovision yourself for your journey onward. And then he takes to the
Are
air.
they friendlier than they were in Heart's Faith?
You say that to the dragon's tail as he begins flapping off to the east.
Mahogany will sidle up to Serenity. What Mahogany is the world's traveling member of the and go, Serenity, dragon's always so rude.
Serenity just sort of shrugs. I mean, the one we fought wasn't particularly nice. I don't even think he was actually a dragon.
You have been paying attention here, right? In this plane? Asking if, and you're surprised something's being rude to us.
Usually they give us things the opposite.
Oh, I know enough to know the dragons don't like giving you this. They like having things.
I like
I have
having
heard
things
about that.
too.
So are you all following the dragon, or are you cutting off in your own direction?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We paid for it.
right.
See, that's what being a pack rat is all about. Is you like crap that you haven't used a couple of weeks, and you're like, oh,
Like dragons.
oh,
You find dragons you haven't used in a while.
yeah.
Kellenth is not escorting you in the sense that he's bringing you to the city. He's escorting you in the sense that he's staying just inside of your field of vision often enough that you don't lose your bearing. And eventually you do see the burg up over the next hill. Not a very large city. Maybe 30 or 40 buildings.
What was the name of it again?
It is Deventh Gotar.
I need to step away from it, but I am still listening.
Okay.
Rude dragonman.
And as you're approaching the small burg, you see people coming towards you up the road. And after a moment, you realize it is 2 men and an oxen bearing their cart of goods, wheeling towards you.
Riot says, sorry to break it to you, but we just spent all the money.
Riot preemptively tells the 2 men that she's broke. And as they get close enough for you to say that, you realize that they're not human, but they're humanoid dragons. Scales and all, one red and one orange.
How distantly different are they from the lizardmen or the dragon man that we talked to before?
They look distinct in that they're a different color and that their scales form different patterns. But other than that, they look pretty similar. And they answer Riot, kind of curiously, kind of quizzically. Well, we're not looking for your money, unless you're looking to purchase our goods.
I thought that's why you were coming here. With the cart and all.
We say, no, just making the journey. And then he rattles off the name of whatever city he's traveling to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that city. What was that?
He rattles off the name of the city again.
Oh, okay. I think I have a cousin there.
And as you're standing in the road, one of the men wheels back and pulls the canvas of the wagon, and they've got mostly food stuff. There's casks of ale, wheels of cheese, big racks of meat.
It's like good stuff. Like selling it.
And they bid you good journeys. And they move on their way.
Mahogany will wave. Goodbye.
And going into the town proper, you realize that the entire village is peopled with Dragonborn. And everyone looks distinct. All varieties and shades of color. Some of their scales come to spiky points on their head. Some of them have flowing scales coming off the back of their head that are very fine and thin and look like hair, almost. Some have great claws. Some have more humanoid hands. A few have tiny vestigial wings on their backs. Some have tails, some don't, etc. And in the middle of the city is an enormous temple to the Platinum Dragon. And in front of it is what looks like a large stove. A large ceramic crucible. And you all have arrived at Deventh Gotar.
All right, let's head to that palace. No sense staying any longer than we have to.
Well, the palace won't be in this village.
Oh, that's right. I think I thought I mistook you for what you said, the temple.
Well, there's a Temple of Bahamut in the village, but it's not the palace.
Okay.
But this would be a good place to get directions to the temple.
Okay.
Yeah. Or to the palace, rather.
Right. That's
Riot looks
that's what I
around
meant.
for a tout.
For a tout, and there are none running around.
How does anyone get anywhere here?
And you're getting strange looks from the people of the town, your little motley band.
We're more ragged, Motley.
More ragged than motley.
Yeah, especially after falling down a mountain. That usually tends to make you ragged.
I'll ask Ilana. So, do you know anything about this place?
And she shakes her head, and you see she's still clutching her sword. She very clearly has some measure of fear of these creatures. But she says she doesn't. That Heart's Faith does not see many pilgrims of the dragon gods.
Well, I'll just walk up to the closest dragonborn.
Okay.
Hey, friend.
There's a vegetable seller on the side of the road selling ears of corn.
All right. There's our guy.
What do you say to him?
Say, hey, friend, can you direct us which way the palace might be?
And he looks you up and down with surprised looking eyes. My goodness, what are you?
Well, that's not very polite.
Was not polite at all. But it was more surprised
I'll tell him.
than unkind.
Yeah. Tell him my name's Riot. There's only one being like me.
And he asks if riots eat corn.
If he's what?
He asks if riots eat corn.
If riots eat corn.
And I'll flash my teeth. Says sure, but with meteor stuff.
And he's not sure he takes your meaning, but he doesn't seem like he is in any position to argue with you either.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Do
completely...
you sell any rats?
And now he's looking...
Mahogany will look around. Dragon rats?
And you're just confusing the poor guy, and he's looking over the group. One of them's asking about dragon rats, and he says, I'm not sure that I've heard of any such thing. But my goodness, you've traveled from far away.
Ciclon rub his head, rub his temple for him, and just say, is there a place where we could, put up our feet for a while, get a little comfortable, try to find out information about the town? We're trying to locate the Palace of Bahamut.
It's my first question, and now I've answered two of yours.
Well, he points out a tap house nearby. So there's a place with empty beds and good food. And if it's the palace you're looking for, you want to hire a guide.
Ciclon claps his hands. That's where we're going.
So how much corn do you want? He asks Riot, as he begins loading it into a small nearby crate.
Let's see. Have I got a good berry?
You've got two.
Okay. I'll trade you these two good berries for as much corn as that'll get me.
And he is not interested in two tiny berries for even a single ear of
They're
his
very
corn.
good.
Tell them they're magic berries.
That's true, though.
I'll just shake my head and say your loss. I'll pop one in my mouth that doesn't go on my way.
The poor guy is so confused. What have you done to him? And
I've liberated his mind.
he returns to his business in the street. The tap house doesn't have a name, just a picture hanging above the door, with bedposts and a mug of beer.
I can get behind the house of bed and beer.
Is everybody going there? I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Heading inside.
Ciclon goes there.
place is not very active at this time of day. But it's about what you'd expect of a small humanoid village tap house. It's a 3-story structure. The lower floor is the commons room, with several tables in here. The only other occupant is a black-scaled dragonborn sitting in the center, and it looks like she's making arrow shafts. She's whittling pieces of wood into straight, sturdy lengths of arrow shaft. She's the only person you see inside so far.
Nobody serving anything?
Not that you see at the moment. You do see off to the side a door that would lead off into the back to a larder or a kitchen area. But no, nobody's serving anything at the moment. Commons is empty of any kind of staff.
Okay, oh there, what you making?
And you catch her slightly off guard. She jumps in her chair a little bit, having sitting her back to you. God, that was rude. Look at you. You could have. The only way that could have been more rude is if you burped at her. It's like a button I can push. I like it.
Yep.
She does. She jumps a little bit in her chair and looks around. And unlike the people in the street, she doesn't give you this queer look as you come in, as though she's looking at an alien creature. She does, however, say that you startled her.
Sorry about that.
She says she's replacing arrowheads that she used on her, or arrow shafts that she used on her last hunt. And she looks over the group of you. So don't receive many travelers this far in the realm. Where did you lot come from?
I thought you got a lot of pilgrims through here. Isn't that the whole point of the plane?
And she looks from the water Genasi to the golden Aasimar to the 13-year-old girl, and then back at the furry-legged freak creature, and says,
What about the guy in a hawk mask?
she looks right past you. Like, obviously that man's a joke.
Well, then.
Looks back at
Mahogany
Riot.
assumes that she thinks the child is insane, and she turns to him and she says, "Oh, this one's joining the Plains Militant."
And she asks Riot, so which of you are pilgrims of Bahamut?
Kelian speaks up and points to Riot and says, "This one. She's seeking forgiveness."
She seeks forgiveness?
Yes.
And the Black
She committed
Dragonborn
a
looks at Ryan.
grave sin.
You've transgressed against the Platinum Dragon.
Well, not necessarily the Platinum Dragon.
This is the longest I've ever been involved in a conversation without speaking.
Yeah, cock a brow at a... Like, what?
She gathers up the work that she was doing into a small bundle, then turns her chair to face you, and she motions to the other chairs of the table. Says, I would hear of this transgression. She seems
I love the
very
story every time
interested.
it's told. And Mahogany will turn towards Riot.
I'm gonna make up a story.
Make up a story,
Riot's
okay?
Riot's make up a transgression here. Let's see.
How would a bard do that?
Riot's gonna tell this this dragonborn, Fletcher, apparently, of the time that she desecrated the temple in Sigil.
So what did she do to desecrate the temple? Do we want to even go into this in the particulars, or do we just want to leave it up to the imagination?
No. I mean, it's a better story if you need more details. Gonna claim that Riot. So they've got this statue of the platinum dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's gleaming platinum, as statues of platinum are required to be. And Riot and her cohorts, not meaning these people, different cohorts.
Of course.
These are the ones making sure I'm atoning for it. We went in there with a bucket of black paint and drenched the whole thing, so it's a black dragon now. Last I saw, they were still taking turpentine to that statue, trying to get them off.
Roll a deception check at advantage.
So did you say advantage or disadvantage?
At advantage. Because you told a perfectly believable story to somebody who doesn't have any reason to believe you're lying.
Okay.
Because there's no reason for you to be lying.
There's always reasons to lie. Deception. Let's call that 21.
21? That's just what we're calling it?
Yeah.
And she listens to the story intently. She says, okay. I suppose I can understand why people would desecrate a holy temple. I'm not sure why you would travel all the way to the Power's dwelling as means of atonement with a group of people who did not aid you in this sin. Yulana looks horrified that you would do such a thing. Like, she is grief-stricken to hear this about her friend Riot.
You gotta understand, we're the type of group who look after each other.
And Riot
Kelian
slapped
speaks up.
Ciclon in the back and said, well, it's my friend here who convinced me to take up the journey. He taught me the error of my ways.
Is Elsie Clone,
does
before you respond, are you wearing your Sigil of the Godsman anywhere?
yes.
Okay. Then, at this point, the Dragonborn takes note that you're wearing it and says, understood. Well done, brother.
Nod.
And then you tell her what?
I'm dead. I'll just nod.
Okay.
Not really saying anything.
Smile and nod.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, long story short, we're getting closer, but we just need to know where the palace is so we can say sorry.
Mahogany has a huge smile on his face the whole story. Mahogany has a -2 to deception.
The Dragonborn introduces herself as Yathibra.
Mm-hmm.
And Yathibra is no stranger to Sigil. In fact, she tells you she's been to the Temple of Bahamut in Sigil, and between you and her, she thought the place had already been desecrated when she was there. She thought it was a ramshackle type place compared to the temples here in Bahamut's realm. Which I don't think has a name. I think it's just called Bahamut's realm. Which is a little awkward.
What's your house? It's called Bahamut? Oh, it's called House?
What's that?
What's your house called, Bahamut? Oh, it's called House. Do you
It's
like
the
it?
Cave of Ordeals.
It's Dragonland. I live here.
It's
Okay,
Dragon
I score.
Our king's really bad at naming things.
Yathibra tells you that she is well acquainted with the physical layout of the realm, but unlike other areas of Mount Celestia, it would be impossible for outsiders to navigate it. And she begins describing the way that the winds interact with each other inside of Bahamut's borders, that each of the 4 winds has great significance to the King of Dragons, and very quickly she's talking over everyone's head.
Mahogany's
Serenity-
listening intently, though.
Right, just groans, not wins again.
Serenity will give it about 30, 40 seconds, then just sort of, and as politely as Serenity can, which isn't very politely, interrupt. So you're saying we'll need a guide?
And she nods in agreement. And at this point, two people come in from the back kitchen area, carrying, between the two of them, straining under the weight of it, a giant cask, which they set to work placing up on a scaffolding behind the counter and tapping with a spigot.
Can you guide us? I mean, we'd hate to tell the whole story to someone else.
Yeah, Thebra thinks about it for a second and says that she's not sure she would be much use to pilgrims seeking atonement. She says, usually my services are rendered to those who are looking to reach the fourth layer of Mount Celestia. Travelers from Sigil, mostly. Pilgrims, I find, can't pay my wage.
Really loudly.
But she says, pilgrims, I find, generally can't pay my wage.
What's your wage?
She asks how much gold you're carrying.
Mahogany turns to Serenity.
Kelian says, well, I've got 70 gold pieces on me.
And she says that it's both, she considers it, on her part, a service in addition to a wage. She says, if you pay me the 70 gold, plus whatever gold the rest of you are carrying, I'll give you a like amount of silver. The gold doesn't do you any good on Mount Celestia anyway. I make a nice donation to the temple this evening, and we set out tomorrow morning.
Stop me for a moment here. I'm confused. How can pilgrims not afford to everything they have?
Says most pilgrims coming to Mount Celestia don't carry gold. And then she looks back at Kelian and says, now I know you're not pilgrims.
Well, we already said we weren't pilgrims. Right? Pilgrims. She doesn't have any gold, does she?
Do
Not
you
a
right?
single piece.
Not a single piece.
Not a single. No, I've got one. I've literally got one. This is gonna be another lie.
So you're lying to her and saying you've got one?
No, I'm
No,
saying
she
I have
has
none.
one.
Oh.
She has the one she stole from the tower.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm not giving that to anybody here.
It's your last gold.
She'll pull out her pouch out of her pack and hand her 100 gold pieces.
Does Kelian give over his 70?
Yeah.
Okay.
One has a coin to his name.
And she, when you guys start counting up gold pieces, she looks impressed. As you all have done very well for yourselves. And she makes good her word. She pays you a like amount of silver. So Kelian, you receive 70 silver pieces. And Serenity, you said 100?
Yeah.
I mean,
She tells you, as you know, the gold won't do any good on the mount anyway. She accepts it, splits it into two halves, puts half into a sack sitting on the table, and then the other into a pouch hanging off of her belt.
And Riot will tell her that, in fact, this one indicating Yolanda isn't trying to get the fourth level. She's trying to join the Order of the Plains Militant.
Yeah. Just happened to run into her on the way.
And Thebra kind of winces for a moment. And she looks and she says, little one, you understand, that's a grave commitment. And Yolanda gives her spiel about how she believes it's her destiny, her life's ambition.
The whole blah, blah, blah thing.
Yeah, 13-year-olds, they ramble on.
yeah.
She's right, though. Show her the dagger.
Dagger?
Or the sword.
Sword.
Yeah, her
And-
little wooden sword she made.
Yeah, Thebra thinks the wooden sword is quaint.
The second
But-
she takes the sword out, Mahogany goes, he goes. Proof to anyone.
And again, she looks at Yulana. She says, "Little one, you don't know. This is no real weapon." And she seems very dismissive of this little girl's hopes and dreams. Yulana, however, takes it in stride and is unfazed. The two men in the corner of the room finish their work, looking out. Is any of you for an ale?
I'll take one.
Okay, the ale costs 3 copper pieces.
Oh, well, I guess I won't take one.
I'll buy one for myself and one for Riot. How much was it you cut out for a second there?
3 copper.
So I'll buy 3. I'll give him a silver piece.
Riot
Okay.
points out to the Dragonborn, you do know that in order to get here, most of us have to fork over all our money to that extortionist dragon, right?
How loud are you saying that?
Oh, I'm saying it to them.
To them?
I mean, I'm making conversation here.
And at that, they stop drawing your drink. And they look at you very, very angrily. And they look over at Yathebra. And they say, "Is this one a friend of yours?" Yathebra looks up and responds, "Oh yes, she sinned grievously against Bahamut and has come seeking contrition." What is Riot's response?
Riot's response is to say, still seeking, haven't found it yet.
The man stops pulling your drink and he says, "Well, you'll seek a drink elsewhere with that kind of talk."
Ciclon face in the hands again, as he does every time Riot seems to her mouth.
Serenity, you receive 2 mugs of beer and your change.
Mahogany takes one of the bugs, and he drinks it, and he says, "I paid the dragon."
Kelian also gives him a piece
Okay.
for 3 drinks.
Okay.
Mahogany takes one of Kelian's.
Well, Kelian's going to drink of them.
Kelian's done with this terrible plane and just wants to get extremely wasted.
Yeah, maybe next time he sobers up, he'll no longer be on the plane. That would be nice.
So,
And when Kelian is sure that no one is paying attention to our group, or he will give Riot the 3rd drink.
there is not a moment where nobody is paying attention to your group.
Riot's not going to take it anyway.
All right.
Those of you seeking to lodge here for the night, it is 5 copper pieces for your room. They're small, but comfortable rooms. The beds are slightly larger than you're used to because they're more for accommodating Dragonborn. Riot, you are not permitted.
That's fine.
You're going to be in the tiny hut. I hope you fail your check and run out of slots. And then I'm going to make it
It's a
rain on you.
ritual.
Ciclon is out of money. He can't afford it.
Oh, Serenity will cover your room.
Oh, well, that's nice of you.
Or, Riot says logically, you can come home with me.
I did that once, and I'm not tethered to your hip right now, so
Remember, you promised to watch over Riot.
Yeah.
Who is Yulana
yeah,
bunking with?
Yeah, I did.
I'll stay with Serenity and Yulana again.
Okay.
Ciclon very blatantly and very miserably. He'll let out a long sigh and say, "Riot, I'll stay with you."
I was about to say, Kelian or join Riot.
I passed that roll, by the way.
I saw it, yeah.
Kelian and Riot are best friends now.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of room in the hut for everyone who wants to come.
I thought it was a
Free
tiny hut.
admission.
Yulana would much rather sleep in a bed.
Okay.
So 2 questions. First of all, is anybody going to be acquiring any kind of provisions in Deventh Gotar before moving on?
I have no money.
And second of all, is anybody looking to get into any more trouble here? Do any of you seek anything else out?
Who all staying in the hut?
Kelian is.
You and
And
Kelian and
Elsie-Clone.
Elsie-Clone.
And Elsie-Clone? Alright, then Riot will not bother making it past the Kelian. Elsie-Clone's around.
Where do you set up the hut out in the village?
Oh, as close to this inn as I can.
Okay. The inn is on a main thoroughfare that leads up the hill to where the temple is. And as the people close up the shops, including one of the two men who yelled at you for mouthing off at their god, all these merchants coming out, greeting each other, all walking as a group up towards the temple. And you see most of them are carrying gold coins, which strikes you as odd because nobody on Mount Celestia accepts gold coins. And they're taking all of this gold up to the temple. And Kelian, you rob how many of them?
Mm.
You could probably get
That
away
is kind
with
of
it. They never
weird.
see you coming.
And describe them to me again. They've got
They're all Dragonborn. And
all Dragonborn.
These are merchants, the owners of local shops, including one of the barkeeps from the tap house you were just in.
They've got. How do I know they have gold?
Because they're holding it in their hands, counting it up, talking
holding-
amongst themselves. Nobody has a lot. A coin here, a coin there. But all of them are carrying some quantity of gold coins.
Yeah. Kelian will try to tail them.
Okay, you're trying to not be seen doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, roll a stealth check, please.
Where the hell is Keith going? Elsie-Clone
9.
asked to Riot.
9.
You wait until you think what is the last of the merchants, as this group of them are walking up the hill. But you misjudged it. And as soon as you step out into the street and begin making your way up, attempting to keep to the shadows, in this realm where there's actually a sun that is setting, when you hear a voice from behind you bidding you good evening. And you turn around, and it's one of the last merchants. And he's holding a couple of gold coins in his claw and smiling at you with his bizarre dragon face.
How fare ye this fair evening? Kelian says, trying to be interesting.
And he says he's just about to climb the hill and make his offering. Says, come, walk with me a bit. We'll enjoy conversation.
I'd love to. Sounds great.
And he's a tailor in town.
Kelian loves conversation.
And he begins talking about his trade. He's greatly interested in you and where you're from. Very interested in especially your heritage. He asks if you know what line you're from.
Well, truth be told, I didn't know my parents, so I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
He nods and he says, well, most of our kind don't. So you and I have a lot in common, you see. Both descended from the immortals, but both mortal ourselves. You from the angels, myself from the dragons.
Kelian nods, putting up his best performance act. I see. I can't help but wonder. You have gold with you, and yet I've been told many times that gold is useless on not only around here but in other of the plane as well.
And he asks if you've ever heard of a dragon turning down gold.
Kelian let fake laugh. Fair enough.
He said, it's true we commonly don't use it in trade, but it does tend to accumulate as we don't turn it away. The gold that we collect, we bring to the temple and offer it to the Platinum God. And as this is happening, you're seeing these merchants are coming around this large crucible which is opening up, and they're casting coins into it. And you begin to feel the heat of this thing.
The heat?
As you reach the bottom of the temple steps and begin ascending, you feel the heat rolling off of this crucible that these merchants are all tossing their gold coins into. The stairs that you're walking up are split in half by a stone chute that runs down the length of them. At the very base of the stairs, as you're walking up, you see that this empties into a basin that just goes straight down into the ground. You get to the top of the stairs. Well, let me ask first, do you make your attempt to rob this merchant, or have you abandoned that idea?
Oh, Kelian has abandoned that idea. Yeah.
Okay. And he gets to the top of the steps, and he throws his gold in, and you feel the extreme heat of it, but you can't help but take a peek in. And in this crucible the gold is melting in the bottom of it into this yellow liquid.
Painful. Oh,
Does it offend you?
Of currency. Oh, it really does. Oh.
And as your tailor friend throws his coins in, he says a quick prayer to the Platinum Dragon. And you don't recognize Draconian, do you?
No.
You do not. Okay. But yeah, he says a quick prayer in Draconian as he tosses his coins in. And then he begins introducing you to some of his good friends in town, other merchants. And before long, everybody has cast their coins in, and the crucible gets very hot indeed. And eventually, a priest comes out of the temple, speaks in Draconian to the assembled congregation, and then the crucible is turned, and it pours this liquid gold down the chute in the middle of the stairs, and it drains away into this basin, into the ground. And Kelian just watches it go. He reaches down with his hands. Like, no! This is so wrong.
I asked my newfound tailor friend, is this for gold only, or is this for all offerings to the temple?
He tells you, he's actually a little surprised you don't know, but on the Celestials consider gold to be a base metal. They consider it to be, because mortals hold it in high esteem above all other things, including life, happiness, and peace. They consider it to be beneath them to use, which is why they use silver and platinum instead. So on Mount Celestia, the gold coins have very little value. However, he again reiterates, the platinum god is indeed a dragon, and no dragon turns down gold. So we offer it to him nightly, so that our burg may continue in prosperity.
I ask because I have silver that I need to donate on behalf of someone. So I was wondering if it would be appropriate to throw down the silver, but I suppose not, since everyone uses it here.
He says it would not be correct to cast silver into the crucible, but the temple would absolutely accept your donation if you were to speak with an acolyte. They don't have a poor box as such, but no dragon ever turns down wealth.
No, just gold, which Kelian doesn't say. But again, it was good for his word with the dragonborn at the tavern. I forget her name.
Yathibra.
Yathibra. So, yeah, he will. Doing that, he thanks the tailor for his time, and for opening his eyes. How town and the Platinum Dragon handles its gold, presses all of the waste, how he really feels about it, and then he'll find an acolyte to donate the silver.
Okay, and after the ceremony is over, and your merchant friend bids you good evening, thanks you for the conversation, at this point, the sun has set. There's no moon in the sky. There's just a very faint silver illumination coming from above. You don't look up. You don't even see the light of Cronius above you anymore. But you're able to find one of the young acolytes of Bahamut and make the donation you would like. So what is it that you do with this acolyte? How much silver do you give him?
Give all of it. 700.
700 silver.
You didn't get 700 silver. You got 70 silver. Is that right?
Well, I gave 70 gold.
And
Yeah,
you
and
received
for each
70
gold
silver.
piece you
It
got.
was 1 silver.
Yep.
Then yeah, 70 silver then.
Okay. And he accepts it as a very generous and gracious gift. And he says a quick prayer to Bahamut, and then he explains what the prayer means, and he simply says that Bahamut expresses gratitude for your contribution to the Horde. And he looks very proud that he knows what it means in many different languages. He's young. He's like the equivalent of a 10-year-old.
Kelian explains why he's making the donation and all of Ythidra, all about how they're going on a pilgrimage, essentially extending the life. Yeah. If the acolyte cares.
He listens intently. I mean, you just gave him a lot of money, so he definitely listens to you, and thanks you again.
All right. Kelian tails it out of there.
And he comes back with a backhoe and digs up that goddamn basin. So the next morning, you all are going to set out for Bahamut's palace. So let's take a 10-minute break before we get onto that. I just realized it's about 4:30. Why don't you guys go ahead and get your coffee, get some snaglins. We will reconvene at 4:40 and pick it up at Bahamut's palace. Who has the rat tail? Did anybody bring the rat tail?
Damn it! We got we were rats all up in Sigil, and we don't.
Nobody kept a tail. Yeah.
Nobody kept a tail. So no class change for us.
Brick, do you mind if I my mom for Mother's Day during the break?
I mind.
You mind?
Do you mind if what?
All right.
No mothers.
He wants to take a half-hour break or something.
No, I just made. I might be late. Is all.
Oh, that's fine. So we just won't look for you to be back at 4:40 then.
All right.
Everybody, go call your mom.